So Navigator just dropped a new poll about how battleground voters view taxes in this country, and I think it's really encouraging. Let's take a look. First cool bit of information is that voters in these battleground states across parties feel that Republican tax policies more favor the wealthy and corporations by quite a long stretch than Democrats' policies do. That's true, so that's good. Majorities across parties also strongly favor closing tax loopholes and raising taxes on billionaires and big corporations. Americans are in agreement about wanting to tax billionaires. We're just being fed a pack of lies that they're not. The only ones who don't want to do it are Republican politicians. Interesting fact, a plurality of these battleground voters thinks the wealthy are paying less in taxes than 5 years ago. Guess what? They are, because of Donald Trump's tax cuts. We also find that across party lines and demographics, large majorities think that the gap between the wealthy and the middle class has grown a lot. So we are again in agreement about this problem. Another area where we see unity instead of division. These voters also share by wide margins a support for a range of tax policies requiring the wealthy to pay their fair share. Look at that top one there. That's closing tax loopholes for corporations who ship jobs overseas. They also strongly support taxing corporations more if they pollute so much that the government has to help clean it up, closing tax loopholes that allow corporations to avoid paying taxes in places like the Cayman Islands. Also popular, increasing the tax rate so a CEO pays a higher rate than a secretary or a bus driver. For the record, these are all policies that the Biden administration has been trying to get enacted against Republican opposition. But here's the part I found most interesting. A narrow plurality of battleground constituents initially favor making the Trump tax cuts permanent. And you might say, well, that's not good. But that's when asked the question thusly. As you may know, in 2017, President Trump and Republicans in Congress passed a law that cuts taxes on individuals and corporations. These tax cuts are set to expire in 2025 unless Congress votes to make them permanent. From what you know, do you favor or oppose Congress making this tax law permanent? And that from what you know part, that's important. Because then they go on to give them the full truth about Trump's tax cuts. The tax law that Republicans in Congress passed in 2017 benefited the wealthy and corporations, with them receiving 83% of the benefits, while taxes went up on the middle class and working people. Extending the tax cuts would add $3.5 trillion to the deficit. This is true. This is Trump's plan. Give wealthy foreign investors a tax break of over $24 billion in just 1 year, and allow 55 large corporations to pay $0 in federal income tax. And then they went back to that original question. After more information, do you favor or oppose Congress making this tax law permanent? And this time, with that extra information and context, wide majorities strongly oppose making those tax cuts permanent. What all of this tells me is that American voters aren't stupid, and they're not really in disagreement about taxing wealthy people more. Most American voters are low information. They don't know these details. But when you tell them, for example, about the details of Trump's tax cuts, they oppose them. So that's this week in polling. If you like information like this, let me know in the comments and I will bring you more.